Go get it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So a lot of questions we get asked when we tell people that we feed raw is what they are and are not allowed to eat on raw. So I just wanted to go over that real fast. So usually we feed our pups chicken quarters, sometimes whole chicken, chicken hearts, chicken gizzards, chicken paws, lots of chicken, right? And chicken's great for them, as long as it's not cooked. Obviously don't cook the chicken because cooked bones cause problems. Raw bones, not so much, but you still keep an eye on it. The only problem is if you feed just chicken, it's the same as if a human eats just one thing. So if you eat just carrots, you're going to get all the vitamins and minerals from the carrots, but you're going to be missing out on vitamins and minerals from other things. So we try to mix it up and mix in other good things for them. Our little one is also super picky, so sometimes she just gets bored of food and we have to make something to get her re-interested in food. So the other day I made this pup stew, like I like to call it. It was chicken broth, carrots, broccoli, rosemary, thyme, parsley, like a bunch of herbs that are really good for them. And I cooked that down in a crock pot. So I cooked it all in the crock pot so that the veggies could get nice and soft. The best thing to do would have been to puree the veggies at that point. I did not do that. So they're still not going to get all the nutrients, but at least going to get some of the nutrients. When it comes to veggies, they can eat them raw, but if they're not really cooked down in mush and basically pureed, the dogs don't really process them, so they don't really get the nutritional benefits from them. But it's still good to throw in there every now and then. Then I let that cool. Once it had cooled, I mixed in raw chicken, raw beef, raw egg, yogurt for extra calcium, and pumpkin for added fiber. Sometimes I'll use applesauce as well. I just didn't have applesauce this time, and pumpkin's good for them. You just don't want to overdo it on the pumpkin because it can be detrimental to their health. So I separated that into 2 pots, mix the chicken into one, the beef into the other one. We have a meat processor as well, so I can process some regular chicken quarters, get the bones and whatnot in there, because part of the problem of doing just regular ground meat is that there's no bones. There's no bones, they're not getting calcium. So it's really important that you put those in there. And then I also chopped up some frozen liver and threw that in there as well. Liver's got a lot of the nutrients and whatnot that they miss from just raw chicken in itself, and helps give them a more diversified nutrient profile. So Pictus eats anything. He ate it no problem. Nachi is, like I said, she's picky, she's stubborn, she gets in these little moods. So she kind of picked around it for a while, but then started eating it. So one batch in the crock pot is usually enough for about a week of food. So I've got some in the freezer, I've got some in the fridge, and like I said, the only reason I split it between beef and chicken, normally I would just mix the 2 together, but sometimes she gets bored of one meat profile, and so giving her beef versus chicken, she'll eat it faster or be more interested at first, and then I can switch back to chicken when she loses interest in the beef. So whenever I take the dog somewhere and there's food around, you know, people will often ask me like, oh, can I feed your dog this? Can I feed your dog that? And normally I don't mind. I'm not a huge proponent of feeding your dogs ice cream and whipped cream and all that kind of human food stuff, but that doesn't mean I deny it for my dogs. Like, they like it, it's a treat, I'll do it every now and then. But there are some things that you should be aware of that you should not ever give your dog. So we use jerky for treats or tracking, things like that. But it's really important if you're going to give your dog jerky that you double check that there's no garlic or onion powder in it. Garlic and onion are both really bad for dogs, and you should not be feeding that to your dog. Like I said, a little bit's not going to hurt them, but it does damage red blood cells, which causes anemia and can cause gastrointestinal issues. And when you have a German Shepherd like we do, bloat is a major concern anyway, and so you just kind of want to avoid that. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like the content you're seeing, please do like and subscribe. Catch us on Instagram and Facebook, and let's get back to the content. So some things that you shouldn't give your dog at all ever, onion, garlic, chive. Obviously if they eat a little bit, it's not going to kill them, but long term, in high doses, it'll be very detrimental. Chocolate, of course we all know that one. Macadamia nuts, almonds, if they have the casing on them, it won't necessarily hurt them, but it's not the best for them. Corn, not great. They don't process it. Avocado, artificial sweeteners, so make sure if you are giving them ice cream, it's normal ice cream, not, something weird. And then cooked bones, like I said. So raw bones are great, especially if you can get the big bovine bones or like elk horns, things like that. Those are fantastic for dogs. 1, they get to chew on them without destroying them. 2, they can get the marrow out of them. But anytime you cook bones, it softens them and makes them brittle. And anytime they're brittle like that, there's more chance of the bones getting caught in their intestinal tract. It's a lot of the reasons that vets will often tell you not to feed raw. Again, you can give them the bones. You've just got to make sure they're not cooked, and just keep an eye on it. If you're chopping the bones up, if you're grinding the bones up, if you notice any really sharp ones, maybe take them out of there or smash them up a little bit more. Another good way to get nutrients to your dogs, if you're not thinking they're getting enough, is whenever you use eggs, save the shells, because then you can powder the shells and mix that into their food. And it's really, really good for them. One of the other things that we do too, we especially did it when they were puppies, we don't really do it so much anymore, is a complete complex collagen supplement. So collagen type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, and type 5. They get it from all different animals, shellfish, regular fish, etc. And then you can mix that into a chicken broth or just mix it right in with their ground meat. There are plenty of people that do raw that you can follow on various social medias. There's one lady that I was introduced to who does a great job. She goes all out. She gets a lot of duck hearts, different varieties of organs, basically. She puts those together in bowls for her dogs, which is great if you got access to a butcher or, that kind of thing and you can afford it. Obviously, that's a great way to make sure they're getting a full profile as well, because they should be getting organ meat as well as the regular meat, just because, like I said, it does have a lot of nutrients and can help with various developmental issues or cramping issues, things like that. And so it's really just how well you can get your hands on it and what you're willing to mess with. I know she specifically will take a full day and prep for like 3 months just because it's a lot of work. Like I said, we usually just do the chicken quarters and call it good, but sometimes, we got to prep something else. It's not a huge process. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. But just making sure that we have all the right ingredients and getting it all mixed up and whatnot. Local butchers obviously are a great place to go, or any Hispanic or Asian markets. We'll usually have like the chicken feet and things like that to get your hands on. So again, that's just what we do for our dogs. There's a lot of different information about what they can and can't eat. I know eggs especially, they go back and forth about should dogs eat them raw, should dogs eat them cooked. We do raw, we just throw them there raw. And they seem to like them, so that's really the thing that matters. Raw is not going to work for every dog. There's been plenty of dogs that either they're allergic to the type of meat that the human's trying to use and they don't realize it, or they just don't like it, or they're just picky. So, raw may not be for you, it might be for you, you never know. If you're switching from kibble to raw, or even raw to kibble, just be aware it's going to take your dog's stomach a couple days to, maybe in a week or two, to regulate and get used to that. So there might be some intestinal issues, or not intestinal issues, but bathroom issues. So just keep an eye on them. If they get really high diarrhea, just make sure they're still drinking water, they're still hydrated, and just keep an eye on them. If they do have a lot of diarrhea and you're really concerned about it, you can feed them a little bit of pumpkin here and there. It will help. You don't need to run out and get a whole pumpkin, or try to find the cooking pumpkin or anything like that. Pumpkin puree will work. And there are a lot of all natural treats that have pumpkin in them, so I know our dogs like them. So there you have it, guys. Again, raw diet doesn't necessarily mean all the foods are raw. Like I said, some of the foods that you want to give them should in fact be cooked. It's just a matter of making sure that if you're cooking down vegetables, like I said, make sure that you are waiting for the stock to get cool before you mix in anything else. Cooked liver isn't terrible for them, but it's better raw. And honestly, if you're like us and don't like, well, at least like me, and don't like the texture of thawed out liver, using it frozen is going to make your life a lot easier. And even when we feed it to our dogs, it's a lot easier to do it frozen. It gives them a little bit more of a fight to get through it, which Pictus enjoys. And Nachi doesn't really like the texture of it when it's thawed out, and so she's more prone to eat it frozen than if it's thawed out. And if you're ever in doubt if your dog should or shouldn't eat something, you can research it online. Again, I would be careful where you're getting your sources, and I would check a couple sources. I wouldn't just Google it and click the first thing that comes up, or reach out to people who do raw. You can send us a message, comment on the video, send us a message through our Instagram or our Facebook, either of those, and we'll be happy to help out.